Hey, I am going to start doing these, let me switch my screen, these courses on FreeCodeCamp. Not because I need them, but mostly because my little brother, I'm teaching him how to code, and I told him to start with this module, and he has a lot of questions that I feel like if you're not familiar with HTML already, could probably be a little confusing. So I figured I will go through, make some videos to help him and hopefully help anybody else that needs help. So there's a lot of modules. I've already gone through this course myself, and I have a certificate for it from here. But hopefully it won't take me that long to do since I already know everything. But once again, I'm just hoping to help other people and mostly my little brother. So I'm going to start with the Learn HTML by Building a Cat Photo app and see if I can't explain things a little more in depth, because I know that sometimes these things can be confusing. So let's see here. Here's a preview of what you will build. Looks like a pretty, basic HTML thing here. I'm not sure if this is, so it looks like you have some verification there. And some checkboxes, radio boxes. So some basic HTML, which is what it said. Let's see. So HTML elements have opening tags like the H1 and closing tags like the H1. The text in element will display, I'm stupid. HTML element. Why am I like this? HTML elements have opening tags like H1 and closing tags like H1 with a backslash. The text an element will display goes between its opening and closing tags. Change the text of the H1 element below from Hello World to Cat Photo App and watch the change in the browser preview. When you are done, press the check your code button to see if it's correct. One thing about FreeCodeCamp is that it is very picky with, making sure that you have everything capitalized that you need to capitalize. So just make sure you do that. And then we're going to check our code. You can use Control Enter, as it says right there. And then, of course, we have done that correctly. So we'll also Control Enter to go to the next module here. I'm going to play some actual lo-fi music because I forgot to do that. So give me a second. Okay, step 2. The H1 through H6 heading elements are used to signify the importance of content below them. The lower the number, the higher the importance. So H2 elements have less importance than H1 elements. Only use one H1 element per page and place lower importance headings below higher importance headings. Below the H1 element, add an H2 element with this text. Once you get further along down in your developer career, depending, I guess, too, on what type of developer you want to be. I prefer the front end. I have done the back end. Having only one H1 element comes into play, per page, comes into play if you're doing front end specifically, or I guess anytime. But for SEO value, it's definitely a factor into that and how you rank on Google. So it's very important to know H1, H2, all those H tags and what they can do. So we're going to add the H2 with the text cat photos. And Control Enter. And we have done it, and we see it there. So next. The P element is used to create a paragraph of text on websites. Create a P element below your H2 element and give the following text. So, same thing. We always want to have an opening and closing tag with these elements. And we will put see more cat photos in our gallery. Control Enter, and there we go. H2 and a P element. Okay, so step 4, commenting allows you to leave messages without affecting the browser display. It also allows you to make code inactive. A comment in HTML starts with this, contains any number of lines to text, and ends with dash dash back arrow. For example, the comment this contains the text to do, remove H1. Add a comment above the P element with this text. So I'm going to do this exclamation point 1 2 3. I mean 1 2 not 3 2 2 that. Then we're going to add to do add link to photos. These comments are helpful, especially when you're working in companies and you need to pass off code to somebody else, or somebody else needs to make adjustments to your code. It's very important, like, to have these in order for people to know, what went on. So commenting is very great. So that's what we did. We added the comment. You can't see it on the page because it is commented out, but if you even miss one of these, then it's going to end up, well, of course we won't pass. Okay, just kidding. I guess because I already passed it. Anyways, I was trying to prove the point that, if you miss one of those, it's going to look all wonky on the page. But since I had already passed it, it didn't let me show you that. So I guess we move on. Step 5. HTML5 has some elements that identify different content areas. These elements make your HTML easier to read and help with search engine optimization, like I was explaining earlier, SEO, and accessibility. Identify the main section of this page by adding the main opening tag before the H1 element and the main closing tag after the P element. So we're going to put the main tag here. And then we're going to do the closing main tag down here. All right. And this is to help to accessibility, like it says up there. Like if somebody is using a screen reader and it'll say this is the main section of the page and it says this, you know what I mean? So that's why those tags are good to use. So we will check our code, submit, and go to the next challenge because we did it correctly. Step 6. In the previous step, you put H1, H2, comment, and P elements inside the main element. This is called nesting. Nested elements should be placed 2 spaces further to the right of the element they are nested in. This spacing is called indentation, and it is used to make HTML easier to read. The H1 element, H2 element, and the comment are indented 2 spaces more than the main element in the code below. Use a spacebar on your keyboard to add 2 more spaces in front of the P element so that it is indented properly as well. So the good thing too, this is just very simple, but once you're actually working in VS Code or or even IDEs, any platform that you can write code in, except just text-based platforms, you will be able to have shortcuts and format plugins that format your code for you. I use VS Code and I can literally right click and format. Of course, I'm using the FreeCodeCamp one, so there's not those shortcuts here, but once you get deeper in the weeds, you can definitely explore that too. Step 7, you can add images to your website by using the image element. Image elements have an opening tag without a closing tag. A tag for an element without a closing tag is known as a self-closing tag. Add an image element below the P element. At this point, no image will show up in the browser because we have not added the image yet. So this is a self-closing tag. You're going to do image and then just that. Check your code. Voila. It's literally this. They call it a self-closing tag because you do not need this closing tag back here. So within the P element, we see P and then a separate closing tag. And then this is a self-closing tag because once again, you do not need a buddy. So let's go to the next one. HTML attributes are special words used inside the opening tag of an element to control the element's behavior. The source attribute in an image element specifies the image's URL where the image is located. Here's an example of an image element with a source attribute pointing to the FreeCodeCamp logo. So we have the image, we have the source, and then of course the source is the link to the logo. Inside the existing image element, add a source attribute with this URL. So we will literally just do source. Set it equal to quotes. I'm going to copy this. Copy. And then we're going to control V to paste. And now we see our cat right there. I'm going to check your code. Of course we pass because we're geniuses. And then we're going to submit and go to the next challenge. Step 9. All image elements should have an alt attribute. The alt attribute's text is used for screen readers to improve accessibility and is displayed if the image fails to load. For example, image source cat.jpg. The alt text, or alt equal double quotes, is a cat. Has an alt attribute with the text a cat. Inside the image element, add an alt attribute with this text, a cute orange cat lying on its back. So we will do the alt text, enter, double quote, control V. And then we will check our answers. Yep, cool. Also, usually the alt text will appear when you're hovering over the image too. It's not doing it here. I don't know if that's like a FreeCodeCamp thing, but or it's also so like once again, if people are using screen readers and they can't see the cat, it'll read out a cute orange cat lying on its back or a picture of a cute orange cat lying on its back. So that's what and why we need to make sure, like when you're making websites, you include those with images. Okay, step 10, you can link to another page with the A element, which is an anchor tag. For example, we have this link within these anchor tags that would link to freecodecamp.org. So we're going to add an anchor tag. So we're going to add the A, and this is not a self-closing tag, so we will add a closing tag behind it. And then right here, we will use href, and then we will equal to, you can use double quotes or single quotes. I will use single quotes just because they did. We want to just copy and paste this link in here. Okay, so we have that, and that should, I believe, be correct. Yep, cool. So we will submit and go to the next challenge. Okay, step 11. A link's text must be placed between the opening and closing tags of an anchor tag or anchor element. For example, we have this anchor tag, and it is a link with the text. Click here to go to freecodecamp.org. Add the anchor text link to cat pictures to the anchor element. This will become the link's text. So we're just going to put this right between the opening and closing tags. And then voila, you should be able to click that, and yeah. I can't do it in the FreeCodeCamp thing, but it would normally take you to that website. So I'm going to stop, but I'm not going to stop the video. I'm just going to stop for the night. So you'll probably see me in different clothing when I finish this video. But this is my stopping point for my night here, so I will see you again tomorrow. All right, as discussed, I'm back to finish at least to number 20 of the Learn HTML by building a cat photo app. Let's see here. So we left off on 10. Now we're going to go to 11. I'm going to play my lo-fi music here. Okay. All right, step 12. You can turn any text into a link, such as the text inside of a P element. P is a paragraph element. So then give us an example here, in which we have the P tag, and then nested in the P tag, we have the A tag, anchor tag. In the text of your P element, turn the words cat photos into a link by adding opening and closing anchor tags around these words. Then set the href attribute to this link. Okay, so cat photos, we're going to add the anchor tag a href equal quote closing anchor tag to the first one. I'm gonna add this link, and then once again we're gonna wrap it around the cat photos right here. So we're doing a closing anchor tag. Then we have, just like the one up here, a href, our link, the text that we want to be the link, and then our closing A tag. So then we're going to check our code. So I didn't pass because I forgot to add in a space right there. That's what I mean by FreeCodeCamp is very picky with the small stuff, so you got to make sure you get that right. I think sometimes, because I know this stuff, I try to rush through it a bit and can make simple mistakes, but even when you get into like actually coding and like JavaScript and stuff, 9 times out of 10, some of your biggest like problems will be the smallest things, like forgetting a letter, forgetting, like a semicolon, or forgetting something small. So that's why it's important to take your time and kind of look through it and not rush through like I do. But we're at step 13. Now that you turn the text cat photos inside the P element into a link, you don't need the second link below the P element. So delete the entire anchor element below. So we're just taking this out. That out. Control enter. Congrats. All right, step 14. Add a target attribute with the value _blank to the anchor element's opening tag so that the link opens a new tab. So what they mean by that, and this is one that tripped my brother up too, because he did not know, and I feel like just coming into this, you won't even, it could be kind of confusing. But you're going to add a target element just like the href here, and you're going to do, of course, the quotation marks. And then in this, you're going to do _blank. Yep, that is what you do. And all this will do is that when somebody clicks this link on your page, it'll open in a new tab. Rather than taking you away from this whole page, it'll just open a completely new tab. And that's very helpful when you're building websites. So let's go to the next one. Okay, step 15. In previous steps, you used an anchor element to turn text into a link. Other types of content can also be turned into a link by wrapping it in anchor tags. Turn the image into a link by surrounding it with the necessary element tags. Use this link right here as the anchor's href attribute value. So we want to wrap the image, doing the same thing we did before. A href equal quotation, and then we will get this here. And then we need to close the beginning tag. At the end here, we're going to put the closing A tag. And I think that's all this asks us to do. It didn't say to add a target element, but we'll see if it wants us to here in a second. So, nope, we're good. All right, step 16. Before adding any new content, you should make use of a section element to separate the cat photos content from the future content. Take your H2, comment, P, and anchor elements and nest them in a section element. So we need to take the H2, and this is what we're gonna do. Section. Make sure I got it here. Comment, P, A tag. And then we're gonna put it right here. And this is the closing tag, so we're gonna add the back. And voila. It is time to add a new section. Add a section element below the existing section element. So we'll just do section. And \section. And once you're working in like VS Code or something, it'll autocomplete for you if you have the right plugins, which is extremely helpful. All right, step 18. Within the second section element, add a new H2 element with the text cat lists. Okay, H2. And then we need a closing tag. And then we want to add the text cat lists. Whoever made this really loves cats. And then we best. Step 19. When you add a lower rank heading element to the page, it's implied that you're starting a new subsection. After the last H2 element of the second section element, add an H3 element with this text: things cats love. I'm gonna copy that because I'm not gonna type it. Gonna paste that right there. So we have our opening H3 tag, and then we want a closing H3 tag. And then that should be good to go. Sure is. Okay. So step 20. After the H3 element with the things cats love text, add an unordered list element. Note that nothing will be displayed at this point. So we're gonna add an opening tag. And then a closing tag for the unordered list. And we forgot to add the back tag. Okay, that should be good to go. Yep. All right. Okay, step 21. Use the list item, li, elements to create items in a list. Here is an example of list items in an unordered list. You have the unordered list around the li items, which are nested between, which those will be milk and cheese. All right. Within the UL elements, nest 3 list items to display 3 things cats love. So we need an opening tag like we always do. And we need a closing tag. Shocker. And then we need 3 of these. So we're going to copy those. And we're going to paste them. Okay, our first one we want is catnip. Not knob. Catnip. And then we want laser pointers. And then we have lasagna. Lasagna. Okay, and let me make sure I spelt everything right. And that should be good. Yep, congratulations. And now we can see it right here. Our unordered list. And with unordered lists, they also have, I'm guessing the next is going to be, oh no, we're not going to. So we have unordered and ordered lists, but I'm jumping ahead. So we're not going there yet. After the unordered list, add a new image with a source attribute set to this link. And it's all attribute value to a slice of lasagna on a plate. Okay. So we need to add an image element, which is a self-closing tag. I didn't need to add that extra line. I better take that away. If not, it won't pass me. Image with our source being that link. Going to copy this. Okay, and it is a self-closing tag, so we don't need to add anything at the back, but we are needing to add the alt text. And we're equal quotes. And we're going to copy. Okay. And that should be good to go. Unless I misspelled something, then it'll kick me back. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Alright, we're on step 23 now. The figure element represents self-contained content and will allow you to associate an image with a caption. Nest the image you just added with a figure element. So just like with the section element, it's going to be the same thing. Nope, except it's going to be figure, not section. And this is not a self-closing tag, so we need a closing tag. And don't forget to add your backtick there. Okay, so that should be all we have to do. Yep, super simple. That is a good thing about FreeCodeCamp, especially if you're a beginner. It breaks everything down so easily. And you may have to go through it a couple times to really get it, because repetition is key. But once you even go through something and kind of learn like how to do it at first, then challenge yourself and go back to do it again, but try not to, you know, watch videos to, you know, help you through it or anything like that, and try and like remember what you did before. There's no shame in watching videos and kind of getting stuck, because it happens all the time. But after you figure out your answer and, you know, you go through it, it's always best to go back and try and do the same thing and, you know, do it yourself, just for memory's sake. Step 24, a figure caption. Fig caption element is used to add a caption to describe the image contained within the figure element. For example, fig caption, a cute cat. / fig caption adds the caption, a cute cat. After the image nested in the figure element, which is right here, add a fig caption element with the text said, 2 cats love lasagna. All right, so fig caption, closing tag, and we need a closing tag because it is not self-closing. All right, cats love Alright, fig caption. Should be good to go. And sure is. And now, under the lasagna, we can see cats love lasagna. Step 25. Emphasize the word love in the fig caption element by wrapping it in an emphasis element. EM element. So this is simple. Just going to do EM. Oh, you know what? We're supposed to wrap the word love, not the whole thing. So EM, and then closing tag, / EM. Okay, and there you go. And now we can see that this number is like italicized. Okay. After the figure element, add another H3 element with the text, top 3 things cats hate. Okay, so let's see here. An H3, H3, /H3. And then we're gonna do top 3 things cats hate. All right, that should be good. Okay. And we can see it on the page right there under the lasagna. Okay, step 27. The code for an ordered list is similar to an unordered list, but list items in an ordered list are numbered when displayed. After the second section, elements last H3, so right here, add an ordered list with these 3 list items. Okay, so it's going to be the same way. We have an opening tag, a closing tag for the OL, and then we're going to have 3 LIs nested within the OLs, ordered lists and lists. Oh, well, there you go. We need 3 of them. Okay, so we have flea treatment. We have thunder. And then other cats. Flea treatment, thunder, other cats. That should be good to go. Yep. All right. Next one. And also let me point out that you can now see the top 3 things cats hate: flea treatment, thunder, and other cats right here. And these are 1, 2, 3. So we have an ordered list because it's a number order. And then we have the unordered list because it's just the dots, the bullets right here. Okay, step 28. After the ordered list, add another figure element. So opening figure tag, closing figure tag. And then voila. Nothing's showing up yet because we haven't put anything in there. So step 29, inside the figure element, you just added nest an image element with the source attribute set to this link. Okay, so we're going to add the image tag in here, which remember is a self-closing tag, so we don't need a closing tag. Source, we're going to put this link. Then we need to close this element. It didn't say to add any alt text, so we're not going to do that, and that should be good. Yep. And now we have the beautiful picture of these 5 little kittens. Okay. Step 30. To improve accessibility of the image, you add an alt attribute with the text 5 cats looking around a field. And I think I've already said this, but of course the alt text is so that way, impaired viewers when using a screen reader can have accessibility on the sites. Okay, so let's check our code. Yep, all good to go. Okay, after the last image element, add a fig caption element with the text "Cats hate other cats." So now we need a fig caption. Once again, this is not a self-closing tag, so we need a closing tag for the fig caption. Backtick fig caption. And then we want to add the caption, "Cats hate other cats." Right, here we go. Should be good. Yep. Step 32. The strong element is used to indicate that some text is of strong importance or urgent. In the fig caption you just added, indicate that hate is of strong importance by wrapping it in a strong element. Okay, so we're going to do it around hate. We're going to do strong. And we can't forget our closing tag with the backtick. And then that should be good. And then now we can see cats, strong or bold, hate other cats. Step 33. It is time to add a new section. Add a third section element below the second section element. So I'm going to do it right here. I'm going to do section. We'll go ahead and put it on the next line just to get a jump start. Okay. Okay, step 34. Inside the third section element, add an H2 element with the text cat form. So we got the H2, and then closing H2. Then we want to put in cat form. I'm sorry if you hear me sniffling. My allergies have been horrible for the past couple months. It just keeps coming back. Okay, so H2 element, closing tag, opening tag, cat form. And then we will see our new section beginning right here. Now you will add a web form to collect information from users. After the cat form heading, add a form element. Cool, so we're going to do a form. Opening and closing tag. Okay. There you go. And nothing shows up yet because we have nothing placed in there. Step 36. The action attribute indicates where form data should be sent. For example, form action equals /submit-URL. Form tells the browser that the form data should be sent to the path /submit-URL. Add an action attribute with the value of that link to the form element. For the most part, you can figure out how to, do these by just looking at the examples, but I do a good job of not giving you the direct answer so that way you kind of have to figure it out. We're not getting into anything too hard as of yet, but it can definitely be, difficult when you haven't worked with this stuff before. That's the wrong. We're gonna submit. And my shortcut didn't work, so we're gonna submit. Yep, okay. So that one went through. And once again, we have nothing here because we have nothing in the form yet. Step 37. The input element allows you several ways to collect data from a web form. Like the image elements, input elements are self-closing and do not need closing tags. Nest the input element in the form element. So, input. And once again, we do not need a closing tag because it is self-closing. And then we're going to check the code. Super simple, just adding that there. And there's something showing now, which is this field. And we will be adding to that in a second. There are many kinds of inputs you can create using the type attribute. You can easily create a password field, reset button, or a control to let users select a file from their computer. Create a text field to get text input from a user by adding the type attribute with the value of text to the input elements. So, just like we do with the href, we're going to do type equal quotes text. I can't spell. Text. Enter. And voila. Alright, step 39. In order for forms data to be assessed by the location specified in the action attribute, you must give the text field a name and assign it a value to represent the data being submitted. For example, you could use the following syntax for an email address text field. You have the input, which is self-closing. We have the type, which we just did. And then you have the name equal to email. Add the name attribute with the value to cat photo URL to your text field. So we're going to do name equal quote cat photo URL. Going to check the code, and what do you know? It is there. Or it's not there, but it's not on the page. Okay, placeholder text is used to give people a hint about what kind of information to enter into an input. For example, we have an input here, the type text, placeholder email address. So what this will do is whatever we type in the placeholder will show up here. So we're going to add the placeholder text to the cat photo URL, your input element. So let's see here. Okay, and then what do any cat photo URL? URL. And then once we do this, we should see, yep, there it is right there, cat photo URL. This is helpful when you start actually making like bigger forms and you have like a password field or a name field. So that way you could put in here what people need to be putting in there, or give them a hint, or, you know, we've all seen forms before. Okay, and I'm gonna stop this video on 41, and I'll pick up 41 in the next video. I think there are, how many more are there? Let's see. Yeah, there's this half right here, which we will knock out in the next video, just so that way the videos don't get too long. So, yeah. So thanks for watching. I'll be making more videos. I'll have a second part to this video up soon, too, and we will get through the first part of the responsive web design modules on FreeCodeCamp.